Muslims do at the end of the fasting, and food is shared with those people around, in giving thanks to God for the food that He has given. For a Christian to say Eid Mubarak on Eid al-Fitr, this is nothing against the religious principles there. No paganism, no nothing in there which could be said to be against the teachings of Christianity. So, for a Christian to say Eid Mubarak, it's no problem in terms of their religious beliefs. But for a Muslim to say Merry Christmas, this is in direct and open opposition to what they believe in. If they did so, they would be doing so as hypocrites. And Islam, does not like hypocrisy. We believe in one God. We believe in the practice of religion based on revelation. That's what we declare when we say La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad, may God's peace and blessings be upon him, was a messenger, of Allah, who brought the way based on revelation, the religion based on revelation. And that's an obligation on every Muslim to uphold that. And because of that, it is not allowed for them to offer such greetings. I know some may go on to say, well, we Christians are very accommodating and, flexible, and we get along with people, so we can offer these kind of greetings, but you Muslims, you're very extreme and, hard-headed, and, you just... Well, it might seem so. However, if we look at it from the point of view of belief and practices, what we really see, what is being expressed here is that principles in Christianity don't have too much value. They can be bent and twisted and whatever, according to circumstance. This is why, if you went back 100 years ago and you asked a Christian scholar or follower, what is the position of Christianity to homosexuality? They would say this is an abomination, one of the greatest of evils. However, today you will find Christians, ministers, people in churches, etc., defending homosexuality, finding excuses. I read in California I listened to one minister there. He was explaining that it's really about what he called just love. As long as your love is just, right, there's justice in it. It doesn't matter who it is you love, whether it's male or female or, This is making up his own religion. This is a term now which I've heard actually. He was not the first one to say it. I've heard a number of people use this terminology. Just love. Love with justice. And this is sort of becoming part of the foundation for the legal system's approach towards homosexuality also. What they call consenting adults. It's the same kind of principle. That is the approach of Christianity. It will change as times change. No problem. You go back to the time of Christ and you look at the women who are around Christ, as they're portrayed in the church today when they paint pictures of Mary, and even though it's clear in the Old Testament, Ten Commandments, that it's prohibited to make any graven images. But in any case, it's very common now in the churches. You'll find them painting pictures of Mary, Mother of God, Mary, Mother of Jesus, Mary Magdalene, and all the different others. But always when they're painted having these scarves, loose flowing, long clothing, not exposing their bodies. And when we look at the early generation of nuns coming out of Catholicism, that's the way they were dressed. Whereas when we look around today, we see the average female will be wearing clothes which can expose as much as possible. Even the nuns have shortened their dresses and their sleeves, and the thing used to cover, the habit they call, which used to cover maybe just a little thing on the top of their heads now, with little pieces on the side. It's modified and changed with the times. So the truth, what was right and what was good in the time of Jesus, is no longer right and good. It's inappropriate. See, whereas the Muslim view, the Islamic view, is that what is right and good in the time of any prophet is right and good for all time. The truth is the truth. It's not something which varies from time to time, place to place, people to people. Everything is relative. This is what sort of, secular civilizations tries to promote now. Everything is relative. One man's meat is another man's poison. What Hitler saw as good, we all look at as being bad. This is playing with people's minds. Because in fact, what is really evil, what is wrong, which has been defined by the prophets, this remains a constant. And unless the truth is maintained, the way of life that was brought by the prophets is maintained, then people deviate. And when they deviate, they go on the path of Satan. And this is why you will find, coming out of those who have deviated, the worst of ills, sicknesses, suicide. America, which is, considered like the top in technology, but the rate of suicide that is in the society is incredible. And you have millions of people who live and die on the streets. Homeless people, millions. And they're talking about also a number of millions of people, like 30-something million people who are impoverished, who are in a state of virtual starvation. This is why a number of people in the States now are saying, what are we doing, sending all this food out, aid, and so on, so on. Our people in our own country are not receiving this aid. There are people who are dying of malnutrition. They're having food, but it's not sufficient for them to develop themselves properly. This is the peak of technology, but they have deviated from the path of God, and religion has followed behind them. When we come back to the issue, as I raised in the very beginning, why it is that Muslims who believe in the miraculous virgin birth of Jesus would not celebrate the birth of Jesus, I explained because of the pagan origins. But I mentioned, considering also that Muslims in many parts of the world celebrate the birthday of Muhammad. May Allah's peace and blessings be on both of them. Now, I just mentioned that the celebration of birthdays is of pagan origin. So the question now arises, should Muslims be celebrating the birthday of Prophet Muhammad? May Allah's peace and blessings be upon him. And based on what I have presented to you, it is obvious that it is not correct. Because, like Prophet Jesus, no one knows the exact date of birth of Prophet Muhammad. May Allah's peace and blessings be upon him. Though people have commonly chosen the 12th of Rabi al-Awwal, this is most definitely the day on which he died. But the day on which he was born, the historians, Muslim scholars are not agreed. So, the idea of celebrating that birthday becomes wrong from the point that we don't even know the exact date. It becomes wrong again from the point, as I mentioned, that the celebration